Hi, we're live and answering your questions about all things functional medicine, all things whole life wellness, and of course, the topic of the day, COVID 19. So, our last video was about myth versus fact, and today we want to talk about anything you want to talk about for sure. And then in addition to that, we're going to talk about maybe best practice surrounding what does it mean to be sheltered in place, what does social distancing mean, and things like that. So, what else do you want to talk about, or what's your idea for today?
I think talking about the sheltering in place is very important. I think it's very important because there's a lot of things going around on social media right now where it's kind of, there's a lot of small business owners around here, and there's a lot of small business owners everywhere.
Yeah.
And
including us.
Yes, and having our businesses open means that there's money coming in, and having our businesses closed means that there's no money coming in.
Yeah.
So, anxieties are high and people are frustrated. They don't understand why, we live in America. This is supposed to be free. Why are we being forced to stay home? So I think that talking about the shelter in place is very important because I think reiterating why it's important is...
I'm not sick. How come I can't go out and shake your hand and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that it's very important to talk about it so we all know why they are forcing us to do this. It's not because that, nobody wants to crash the economy. Nobody wants to see anybody else struggling. But, with a global pandemic, if we don't do this right...
Hi, Mandy.
Hi, Mandy. This could be circulating for a very long time.
Right.
And the effects are going to be even greater if we have this virus that's rampant for the next year to come.
So, what's sort of the first, I guess especially given that if you're sick, it's less likely to be COVID than anything else. So what's the big deal? Why can't I just go to work?
Well, and, even if you...
Hi, Fran.
A lot of people are having to stay home. I think the issue is they see everybody's healthy. Like, why do we have to stay home? We're healthy. Well, there's a majority of people who have no symptoms at all. And things that are coming out of China are showing us that 86% of the cases passed in China they're drawing it back to individuals that had no symptoms at all. So, we're getting all this information from these countries that have shown us how this process evolves, and it's giving us hints to things that we can do to prevent it.
Yeah, and it's not that there's just a certain small number of magical individuals that are asymptomatic. It turns out that everybody who gets this disease is shedding virus, meaning they're infective, for about 2 to 5 days before they get sick. Now, some people less and some people more. And as we all know, on that day when we're getting sick and we're not sure we're sick and we're trying to talk ourselves out of being sick, so that's another day or two. So it could be as much as 7 days of, quote, asymptomatic, even though those last 2 days are probably a little bit symptomatic, but we're in denial. So we're walking around spreading the virus, not even knowing we're sick. And so that brings up, we're getting pressured by various people. How come, you won't come over? How come my kids can't come over? How come your kids can't come over? Well, it's because of this. If we don't shelter in place, so this group of people that are in this house are all cross-contaminated already. We're going to keep this group of people together. Other groups should keep themselves together. But mixing back and forth defeats the purpose of sheltering in place because of this 2 to 5 days of asymptomatic and then another 2 days of maybe I'm sick. So maybe as much as a week of being able to pass this infection along without even knowing it. Yeah.
And then when we're, there's that 6 feet distance rule. And of course, that doesn't go to in households because we're already cross-contaminated. That is when you are out in public. So, my son asked me the other day if he could hang out with a friend and just stay 6 feet apart. And I was like, but when you guys are in each other's spaces, let's say, you're both in, if he comes over, if he's in the kitchen, it doesn't matter if you're 6 feet apart if they're still in your home. So having a party and saying, let's all stay 6 feet apart is really counterproductive. It doesn't...
Because there are surfaces that aren't being decontaminated. When you're in your casual environment, you're touching things, and then you're touching things.
People are using the bathroom and...
Right. You're touching things. And so it really defeats the purpose. Now, when you're out and about, that 6 feet is different. And by the way, I'm trying to maintain 10 feet, just so you know. But that 6 feet is different because you're not commonly touching, and if you're in a store and you're touching stuff, hopefully you're saying, I'm putting stuff into my cart with my left hand, I'm pushing on the the register, self-register thing with, and I did it like this. I did it like this. And then as soon as I got in the car, pump and, like this. So we're trying to...
We're being very careful.
We're being very careful. Everybody should be being careful. And, feel free to laugh at me. I won't laugh when you get sick, I promise. I will do my very best to be compassionate and help you in any way I can. But feel free to laugh at me for being overly cautious. And when it's all said and done, if we did this right, very few people get sick. And we look like a bunch of morons. We look like we overreacted. That's okay. I'm happy to look like I overreacted. The cost of underreacting is too great. All right.
I'm going to see if this is somebody that, Mandy not laughing. This is me on a regular basis. Mandy, me too. I'm a recovering germaphobe, but it's coming out in me again. I was finally I had ditched all hand sanitizers the last few years, and I was doing really well, and now it's all come back.
And hi, Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Well, was there some more stuff on there about stealth spread? I guess we got all that, huh? Okay, good. All right, so some other ideas here.
Forever, yeah. So for every confirmed case of COVID-19, there are likely another 5 to 10 people with undetected infections. And this is coming out of January 2020, kind of the mathematical models that they used within China. So that's where we're getting some of this information from NIH. And we can put the link below so you can read the whole article because it's really great.
NIH, the United States National Institute of Health. So it's not some fringy group. Oops, I just scratched my face. My goal is to not touch my face on these videos, and so far I have failed miserably, but I'm trying.
But you're becoming
aware.
My
right eye itches really, really bad right now. So what does that mean? And I think that's actually probably an underestimate. But regardless, if there are 10 people that probably are walking around with the virus for every one that is confirmed, that says something significant. So it goes back to that thing I said earlier, you're much less likely to have COVID than you are to have the regular flu or just a cold or whatever. But because we can't just get ready tests, we don't have, you can go to the store and buy a test for HIV and do it at home. You can do a test for several different diseases at home. For reasons that elude me, you can't do one to strep throat, which would be a big help for everybody. And you can't get one for this disease either. If we could do a home test that was fairly reliable, if you were sick, and we did a test and nope, it's influenza. Well, we'd say that's terrible. You're going to feel awful for a couple weeks. Or if we said, nope, it's just a common cold, which we don't even have a test for the common cold. But if we could, it would be a game changer. But because it isn't, we kind of have to assume that if you're sick, you have COVID, unless we can do a test. And we can't currently do a test easily that says, yes, you have COVID. Hopefully very soon we can. I read someplace, I don't know if it's true or false, but I read someplace that they picked up 50,000 or 500,000 tests in Italy and are bringing them to the United States. I find that hard to believe, but it was something I read, and I didn't verify it, so don't quote me. But so our big problem for us is we need to just make Fran, yes, I know you're a big germ freak. Yeah. Hi, Rebecca. So we just need to be cautious. We need to decide if we're sick, we have COVID until proven otherwise. Not that you need to freak out, oh my God, I have COVID. It's that you have to just treat yourself as if you do, knowing that the overwhelming probability is you don't. So that's another piece of the puzzle about, how do we contain this? Mm-hmm. So what do you say here? You already talked about 86% of cases, but I think that bears repeating.
I agree.
Because there weren't as many people listening. So go ahead and talk about that again.
So according to information that has come out of China, they have gone back and looked at the cases, and 86% of the cases in China were sourced from individuals that displayed no symptoms. So these individuals that had no symptoms of the virus were spreading the virus to others. And we can also see from China, once they put those social isolations into place and mandated that everyone stay home, and they did it a different way than we do it, obviously, but their cases dropped. Their cases dropped dramatically. They dropped dramatically.
Yeah. So, just like us, she's got a business. I have a couple of businesses. Both of them are making a little less than this because we have expenses associated. Not a little less, a lot less than this because we have expenses associated with them, right? And I've started an online thing. We have started an online thing, and it's made exactly less than this because it has expenses associated with it. So, on some level, we are all sacrificing healthcare people. That's
sorry, that's my 6-year-old's iPod ringing right now.
Yeah, his buddy wants to talk to him. We're all making sacrifices. Healthcare workers are putting their health on the line. Business owners are putting their life savings on the line. They're something they've been trying to build for years and years, perhaps. Salary workers have their jobs on the line. It's a terrible time, but the alternative is also terrible. And, there are arguments to be made. What is the value of a life of somebody who's over 60? I happen to think it's really high.
I do too.
But these are the terrible kinds of decisions that we have to make if we don't social distance properly.
Brooke.
Hi, Brooke. What's you say there? Let's see. So Jane. We're reading something from Jane.
Jane says, what about when your partner comes home from work? I locked him outside. I said, sorry, I'm social distancing. Seriously, I make him shower, wash all of his clothes, but I don't know if this is right or if I should just spray him with Lysol. What is the right thing to do here?
Yeah, don't have him drink a cup of Lysol. Don't do that. So you're doing the right thing. His clothes should go immediately into the laundry. He should shower. There's evidence that the virus can be carried on your hair, so wash your hair. Again, soap and water is actually better than disinfectants for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons is this is an encapsulated virus, so it has a lipid or fat outer layer, and the soap saponifies that and makes the bug less infective. The other reason is because when you're rinsing, you're actually moving the virus off of your body and down the drain. And if those rats get COVID, I don't frankly care. Down in the sewers, I mean. So you're doing exactly the right thing. If somebody in your home is working outside the home still, shower as soon as you get home. There's no hi, honey, hug and kiss. It's get your clothes in the hamper, get in the shower, and then start your evening as a family. Go ahead.
Look. Brooke says hi, Tom and Elizabeth.
Hi. Hey, I saw your post the other day. It was great.
Very good.
Yeah.
Brooke, what are your thoughts on how long the virus has actually been in the U.S.?
Well, who knows, right? Because it could have been longer than we think. Because there's a lot of people traveling between. Wuhan is a major industrial city. I can't remember, but there's a big manufacturing presence for, I don't know if it's chips or it's some electronic component. And there's a lot of, U.S. companies that travel back and forth all the time. Tell a story of your, anonymously, tell a story of your friend who came back from China or wherever it was.
Yeah, she came back right before Christmas and came down with symptoms that mirrored COVID-19. And, she thought it was the flu. She stayed home for that period of time and just got better on her own. But, again, she came out of China in that area around the time that the virus is circulating. So who knows?
And do you happen to know, did she lose her sense of smell?
I have no idea. I could ask.
It's kind of interesting. It's not that it's critical, but the symptoms of this that are not particularly unique, unfortunately, fevers, dry cough, and then some people, a significant fraction, but not all, lose their sense of smell, some long term. And then as you're getting sicker and sicker, you actually get hypertensive, high blood pressure. So that's another piece of the puzzle. If you hear piano in the background, that's not our music taking us out. It's one of her sons is playing the piano downstairs, so that's good. Okay, so just kind of going back to that idea that asymptomatic carriers, people who don't even know they're sick. Hi, Yolanda.
Hi, Yolanda. Hi, Carmen.
Yep, hi, Carmen. People who are asymptomatic, they don't even know they're sick, are responsible for up to 86% of the cases in China. And that's why we have this shelter-in-place idea, because it's not enough to simply think, oh, well, I'm not symptomatic, so therefore I can't give it to anybody. It doesn't work that way. Wish it did. It'd be much easier. Something's down here. Yolanda, how do you two feel about ordering groceries online through companies such as Ship? I've never heard of that company. It's a good option for people. I think it's a great option for people. Yeah. I think even if you can't get it delivered right to your home, if you can, like Cub and most of the big grocery stores now, you order online and then you just pick it up in the parking lot. So you don't have to go into the store. You're only interacting with one other individual. And what you can do even in that instance is you can say, thank you, I'll take it from here, and they can just walk away. And, you can pick up the grocery bags. And so the other thing that we've been thinking about, because the bug appears to be able to live on cardboard for a while, obviously we need to pull out the frozen food and whatever. And she's been taking some hydrogen peroxide towelettes and wiping off the things and putting them in the freezer. But stuff that is dry goods and canned goods, we just let them sit in the bag for a day or two. And that makes, the longer it sits, the less viable any of the viruses are. So, there are ways to kind of reduce the likelihood of nastiness. Just before all this craziness came out, we were skiing in McCall, Idaho. And every year, one of the guys on our group, we call ourselves the Geriatric Telemark Society, because we used to all be telemark skiers. I'm the only telemark skier left. So every year we get a new buff, the neck gaiter thing that you can pull up over your face as I touch my face here. This year we realized, as all of the noise is building about COVID-19, we realized that these were made in China. So we started calling them our Wuhans. So, hey, where's my Wuhan? I can't find it. None of us have gotten sick so far, though, so that's a plus.
And you're 2 weeks out now.
Yeah, we're good 2 weeks
Wednesday out. Wednesday was 2 weeks when you got home.
Yeah, we were right on the borderline as to what we were all talking about. Gee, should we be going right now? But, we ended up going, and glad we did. We had a great time. So,
Just looking at what we've chatted about so far.
this one?
Oh yes, I did touch on that a bit, but again, it's probably very important, and I think to begin with there weren't a whole lot of people on. Just stressing that if the pandemic isn't contained, this virus could well circulate around the globe for years to come. So
Could be like the seasonal flu.
mm-hmm.
The good news is I think there's already a or a COVID vaccine in clinical trials. Doesn't mean we'll have it anytime soon. It's still going to be a while, but there is one already in clinical trials. We will have one certainly by next season. So even if it does become like the seasonal flu, I think it's highly probable there will be a very effective vaccine for those who can take vaccines, right? Not everybody can take a vaccine.
Yeah. Jane, is it possible to be overly cockroach on germs? Do we need to have some germs? Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
cautious. I just read it as it was. That makes more sense. Overly cautious about germs.
Yeah.
I was like, cockroach. Is
Yeah.
that like a different term I haven't
Yeah,
heard of?
well, that's a good term for it, right?
It is.
If you see one cockroach, you know there's thousands more, and if you see one germ, you know there's thousands more. Yeah, I think it is entirely possible to be overly bug phobic.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I've said many times that it is a rich microbiome on your skin that actually prevents a bad bug from getting a foothold. But in this instance, during this time, we definitely want clean hands because this pathogen is so contagious. But yes, you don't want to be, trying to sterilize your gut and all that. In fact, a robust, healthy microbiome at this time is really important. So a healthy microbiome comes from diversity of plant matter and fungi in your diet. So go ahead.
Yeah, if you can get those fresh fruits and vegetables right now, that's great.
Or even frozen.
Yeah, frozen is good too. As much as we can right now.
Yeah, so it's almost easier when it's frozen because you can buy the mixed vegetables and you're sort of forced to have 4 or 5 different kinds of vegetables. As opposed to if you buy fresh, it's like, well, I better eat this head of cauliflower before it goes bad. So anyway, yeah, as much diversity in your diet as you can manage makes a more diverse microbiome, and that is very protective in terms of your immune function. All right, what else we got here?
So again, down to social distancing for right now. It appears to be the best weapon we have to slow the spread of this virus, since it is a large portion a silent virus.
Oh, here we go.
Yolanda. Do you want me to read it?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Because otherwise I gotta have everybody see my nose hairs.
I have been taking vitamins and supplements as you recommended. Yay! Do we have to be careful to not overdo it?
Overdo supplements? Yeah, well, sure. Of course, there's balance. Everything is toxic at some dose, including water, right? So yeah, you have to balance that. More is not always better. Enough is enough. So.
And that's why I think, it's great. If she's taking the supplements you recommended, he obviously looked at all the supplements to make sure there wasn't, the ingredients that were overlapping, make sure that you're getting the effective dose. So, I would say if they're taking what you recommended,
yeah, then that's appropriate. And we're coming out actually, we have a program. It's normally $147. We're giving a coupon to get it for $47, and for those people who can't afford it at all, we're going to give it for free. We just are going to ask people to support us if they can, and it's basically a quiz, a questionnaire. Huh?
Nothing. I was gonna itch my eye.
Oh. Yeah, you're better at thinking of it than I am. It's a questionnaire that helps you understand where your system is out of balance and how to kind of help it come back into balance. And that whole program is designed to be fit together, you know. So that'll be coming up in the next, hopefully, few days, middle of next week at the latest, I hope. But anyway, that's the issue. And why is social distancing so important? The main reason is because 86% of cases in China came from asymptomatic people, or people who were asymptomatic at the time that they transferred the illness. They may well have later become symptomatic, but at the time they transferred the illness, they were asymptomatic. So that's the reason for it. Yes, it's a huge burden on every single person, whether you're an employee, an employer, a healthcare worker, whoever you are, this is impacting you in a terrible way. Even, you know, if you happen to be one of the categories of essential workers, like you work in a liquor store, well, guess what? People are coming in there all the time and they're buying stuff, and you're maybe carrying their stuff out to their car for them or whatever. That is a sacrifice that you are making to help what little bit of the economy can move forward, and but nonetheless, your risk is still there. Another something. Sign me up, she says. Okay. Can you repost what supplements to take, please? Yeah, we will do that.
Yeah, we can put a link.
Bottom line is a multivitamin, fish oil, and you know, not like a Centrum, but the horse pill kind of, like ours is too. We have packets. It's, if you go to our website, justbewell.info, it's would in your case would be Women's Essentials or Women's Essential Advanced, and the advanced is just for this sort of perimenopausal, menopausal woman. And that's a packet that has vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients and fish oil. And then fruits and vegetables, which is the equivalent of 20 servings of fruits and vegetables from an antioxidant and phytonutrient point of view. Doesn't have fiber in it. And then there's some other recommendations as well, and we can post that stuff. What else we got here? It would be great to create like a PDF or something really easy to share on social media with others. Yeah, there's a million of those out there, and there's a ton of controversy about it. So as an example, in my highest tier of, well, actually, I think it might be in the middle tier of immune support, I recommend vitamin D. And there are people saying, well, vitamin D can upregulate ACE2, and ACE2 is the way the bug gets in the body, and that's absolutely true. But it's also true that most coronaviruses, and there are many, it's not just this coronavirus, get into the body the same way, and yet vitamin D has significant ability to prevent the flu. So, you know, there's all kinds of biochemical wizards out there that want to tell you don't do this because of that. But there's also epidemiological evidence, and I think that's a more powerful argument than the mechanistic arguments. So, so I will certainly, we'll be posting some stuff for sure. And what else? I think we're at 28 minutes already. Yeah. Holy cow! So, any other questions? Happy to answer them. Comments? Yeah. Happy to entertain any comments or questions. I posted something earlier about sort of people that are finger pointing and, you know, well, we have it harder than you and blah, blah, blah. And that's why I keep emphasizing that we're all in this together. Yeah. I think it's really important to keep in mind that it's very quick and easy to be able to point to other. We as a species have evolved to be afraid of other. And it's easy to point at other people and say, you're the problem, or you don't have it as bad as I do, or something, or you're taking from me. And I think it's only through a clear, mindful perspective that we can keep compassion in our hearts. So I hope that we will strive to do that throughout this really tragic worldwide event.
Yes, I've heard. Oh.
Somebody said something about ibuprofen.
Let's see.
So early on, there were some concerns about ibuprofen. I even echoed that. And I do think there's perhaps some concern. I mean, we don't give ibuprofen. Well, actually, some people do. We don't give aspirin specifically to children because of something called Reye's syndrome. Ibuprofen may increase ACE2, but again, it's far more complex than just whether or not it raises ACE2. I think the argument that's better is Elizabeth's argument. Why don't you talk about fevers and stuff?
Most of the time we take the ibuprofen or the Tylenol when we're not feeling well for the discomfort. So it comes along in the form of a fever. I think that people are getting more comfortable with fevers now than they were, say, 5 years ago. I felt like it was very fearful, but our bodies are feeling this for a reason. You know, you have the body aches, you have a fever. The fever is actually one of the things that helps to kind of wake up your immune system to combat, go against these viruses and to kill them. So the fever is something we don't want to suppress. And if you have a headache and body aches, you're more likely to stay in bed. You're more likely to up your fluid intake and take care of yourself. When you're taking these suppressive things, you're going to be up, walking around. I don't have a fever anymore. Yeah. When in fact you're still sick, you're just masking those symptoms. So it's probably best to rest, to up your fluids, use those cool compresses on your forehead, the back of your neck, things like that.
Yeah, so our reason for not using ibuprofen is a little different. Some people are saying, gee, it increases COX-2, it increases ACE2, and it may or may not. It probably does, but whether or not it does may or may not have an impact on whether or not you get COVID. Our feeling is that fever is one of the ways that your body increases the activity of immune cells. And so our feeling is that to the degree you can, there are certainly, if your fever is 104, you probably want to manage it.
Yeah.
But shy of that, you probably don't want to.
You want to support it and make sure you're being well hydrated. And Yolanda, I run low-grade fevers quite a bit because of my autoimmune issues, and I use doTERRA peppermint oil instead of over-the-counter meds. Yes, I think peppermint oil works great too.
Yeah, peppermint oil. Some people have good luck with curcumin. Some people have good luck with rosemary. So there are a number of different herbal things that are
or homeopathic remedies.
Homeopathic, some people have very good luck with. So the difference is something like an ibuprofen or an aspirin is a non-competitive binder. Basically, it grabs onto the thing that it's trying to inhibit and just stays there forever. Whereas natural products tend to be competitive binders. So they grab on, they let go, and they grab on, they let go, and they grab on, they let go. So this thing, which has a function, can do its job, just not as aggressively. And so generally speaking, not always, but generally speaking, herbal remedies are a gentler approach to the problem. They often work upstream as well. The kids and my two newfies are running around outside, and I'm not sure the newfies are helping.
See, this is one of those good things about the isolation and being home. The older brothers are playing with their younger 6-year-old brother outside every day. They play with him outside twice. So
yeah,
that wouldn't normally
by
happen.
Decree. It wouldn't normally happen.
They know that if they want to do other things at home that they enjoy, they have to spend some time with their brother outside. Jane, my dad had good luck with rosemary. Yeah. So much so they had 7 kids.
So it wasn't that good as birth control, though. Your mom's name was Rosemary. That's a joke. I just put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. All right.
Cute.
All right. So we'll see you. I don't know if what's today? Friday? Probably not over the weekend. We'll see. We might go live over the weekend. Leave comments if you want us to come on over the weekend. We'd be happy to do it. But I also feel like too much, even of a good thing, is too much sometimes. So we will see you next week or whenever it happens. I deleted it. What did you delete? I don't know. Anyway. All right.
So, no more comments?
No.
All right.
All right. We'll see you later on. Bye.
Bye.